Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul over here, and today we are reviewing Kaatera. I have just watched the film, just finished watching it, and here are my thoughts. So, Kaatera is a movie about the farmers that are suffering because of the caste system, and it's mostly following the life of Kaatera. I'm trying to not give you spoilers here, but I'll just give you a spoiler warning. If you guys don't want spoilers, if you haven't seen the film yet, watch the film first and then come see my review, okay? So it tells the story of Kaatera, who is basically a altruistic person. That's what I thought of the character. He was altruistic. He was helping the people without, wanting anything in return. Just a very good man and considered a god to his people. So the film starts very intriguing in a very interesting manner, where they find 107 skeletons and they kind of explore what happened. So they in parallel to discovering the 107, they cut to an old darshan, an old dibos, and they kind of like pair the past with the present. So they tell a little bit about the present, and then they go straight to the flashback telling how he went to prison. Okay, so basically this whole movie is set in 1989 as a present, and 15 or 20 years ago, give or take. So we're gonna say in the 70s, probably early 70s, mid 70s, so 1970. And the thing that they do here is very smart. Like I believe the crew researched all of the laws in 1970, and it talks about the laws that were tried at the past and the laws that were in progress in 1970 also. And what I've noticed is that they tell the story of how farmers were treated in 1970. They talked about two laws that were evident here in the film, which is the law of I forgot the word that they used, the farmers, right, having ownership of the land as well as the landlords. And also the second law that they showed here was the law that landlords could not harm the farmers. So I gather from this information that in the past, circa 1970s, the farmers were mistreated. The farmers were brutally murdered. If it's according to the movie, I believe these things happened in the past. And another thing, a third law that was not mentioned in the movie, but we know because of history itself, was the habeas corpus, which Tiller is the owner of the land. Yeah, okay, thank you. And the habeas corpus, which was a law that was not yet valid at the time. It was not yet sanctioned, the law of the habeas corpus. So they were allowed to go into Kaatera's house, falsely imprison him without him being able to defend himself. So that's something that was mentioned. So it portrayed the farmers as completely defenseless in the eyes of the law. And it is interesting how they showed that the farmers started gaining their rights, started gaining their power, and it is something that showed that part of the evolution of the mindset of the landlords and the Indian government. So it's a very interesting movie, because it shows evolution, it shows progress in terms of the message of the film itself. And the way they told the story was very educational. It was very interesting, and it felt like it was really an eye-opening way of telling the story. Let's go to the technical part of the film. The soundtrack was very nice. I think it was very emotional. They had many romantic scenes, although it had a sad ending. You know, the love interest in Prabha said that she would die for him, but she didn't end up dying for him, but she died because of the choice that she made, which involved him. So she didn't die to protect him, but she gave her life to be with him. So technically, she did foresee her future. She said, I would die for you. Even though she didn't know that, you know, the big plot twist at the end would happen, she still risked her life for Kaatera. So at the end, this movie kind of like, it has a lot of elements that they open up a circle, they go full circle at the end. So everything is tied. So if you noticed carefully, she said that she would die for him, and she did. Okay, spoiler alert, sorry about that. That's a full circle. Another full circle that they did was that they were treating the ox, you know, the animal, with so much disrespect, killing it. And then the full circle was when Kaatera also treated the brother as an animal, chopped him off. Okay, so that's a full circle also. And then there was another full circle, which was, what was it? I forgot now, but I know that they kind of played with the notion of what goes around comes around. You know what I'm saying? So however they treated the people around them, that came back and got them as well. There is another thing that I'm trying to remember, which was the third full circle that I noticed, which was a dialogue that he said. And I can't remember exactly what the dialogue was, but I know that he went back to the leader, the landlord, and he said something back to him. If you guys remember, let me know in the comments. But it was something that the landlord had said, and then he came back and did something and said the same thing back. This movie is full of dialogue, and the execution and the acting of D-Boss is very convincing. You know, he does look like a very wise old man, and he also looks like he went through a lot. And it's interesting that his life was only to protect the village. After he, you know, started fighting for the village, he went to prison. His life was basically, he was there just to save the village, and that's why he is considered a god. Plot twist was very interesting. I thought they were going another way with that, because they were talking about the 107 skeletons versus 108 men. If they are silent, it means they've agreed. No, I don't think that was the dialogue I was talking about, but yeah, I can't remember the dialogue exactly, but I remember there was something that came back, started by the landlord, and then ended with Kaatera saying the same thing back to him, which was a full circle moment. What I also enjoyed was the fight scenes. I think the fight sequences was very well made. A lot of mass fights in this, a lot of very interesting details. There's a scene in this that I've never seen before. I don't think I've seen this before, but he was fighting with his mouth. He was fighting with his mouth. He had both hands behind him, and he was fighting with the mouth. So that's crazy. Like, I've seen a fight scene where somebody's just sitting down, but I've never seen somebody kill so many people just holding a knife on his mouth. So that is something very intriguing. What else did I miss? The acting, I thought it was very nice. Raba's death is something that I don't know if I know it was a great plot twist, and I understand why she died, and I understand exactly what happened to lead to her death, which was she valued her love for Kaatera more than the caste, and her brother valued more the caste than his family, which is a complete contrast. So I understand that whole part, and I understand that it brings some emotion to the film, and it brings a plot twist also. But I kind of wanted to see them together after all that she has tried with him. And I feel like he didn't get a chance for redemption, for, you know, because he was ignoring her since they were children. I feel like she needed closure. I feel bad for her. I feel like she needed to know that he loved her. Although he was going to marry her, so technically, yes, she knew that. But it just leaves that lingering sadness that I wish things were different. But on the other hand, that's the reality of things. It makes it more realistic. It's not always a happy ending. And it feels like he brought change, but not until... Wait, did it feel like he brought change? It felt like he brought a message encouraging change, but he was in prison for 15 to 20 years, and it only damaged the village more, I mean. So it feels like I needed a little bit more closure. But I guess if you look at India today, things have changed. So I think that's the closure you'll get by seeing how India is today in comparison to how it was in 1970. So things have changed, at least according to what you guys have been telling me. So yeah. The only drawback was the songs and the runtime. Look, I enjoyed the songs because I think they're beautiful songs. But is it necessary to the plot? I mean, maybe one or two, but they had a lot of filler songs, I would say. And the runtime, 3 hours. Yeah, I agree that, you know, it wasn't necessary to have 3 hours. But then again, what parts would you take from the movie without losing the build-up, without losing, you know, the storytelling? One thing I did not agree with was the doctor. Because of the guy's career, she kind of gave in because she felt sorry for him, and Kaatera had saved his life because he was young. He changed his ways, he became a police officer, and he was trying to, you know, burn the evidence. But that is erasing the history. You know what I'm saying? That is kind of like erasing the history by allowing them to be burnt, or you know, just telling a lie saying that they died of natural causes. It kind of eliminates some of the history that Kaatera had built, you know. The bones are there to tell a story. So if you're lying about what happened, they died of natural causes. No, the message here is that they died because they went against, you know, a good man with good intentions to protect his village. That plays to the history. I always believe in transparency and, you know, showing the truth. So I didn't agree with that part. But I understand why she did it, because she wanted to preserve the future of a young man who sought redemption. Okay, I think I've said everything I wanted to say. I wanted to remember the dialogue, but I don't think I will remember. But you guys can watch back my reaction to it, okay? And I've just noticed If you guys saw me drink from this bottle, this is my wife's bottle. Actually, all the Pokemon are hers, but it's it's so funny. Anyways, let me see what you guys are saying before I end this review. You guys are saying that the director trying to show honor killing, which is happening because of the caste system, and these kind of incidents still happen in India today. Really, this is a comment that I got. Last news I heard 3 weeks back, where a father killed his daughter because of the caste system. It's still happening today. Another comment. If that 108 deaths were proved, he would be hanged to death. I mean, she saved his life, but you're still eliminating the history, right? I understand her reasoning. I understand his reasoning, but you know, he did. He was there to. It's a complicated and a messy situation. Okay, with all of this said, let me give my rating. I would give this movie I'm gonna give it a 7.4 because I feel like they could have cut down a little bit. They could have had a little bit more. I don't know. A little bit more. I don't know. I think the thing here is that this is a very for me it feels like a regional film, right? So there are a few nuances in this that cater more to the Kannada audience, and as a foreigner, I would be able to appreciate it much more if I was if I knew all the ins and outs and the details of, you know, what's going on. So I think the movie had a great message. It was an entertainer. It was educational. But I feel like people like me, or people less informed than me, would not really understand so much what was going on, because we're not taught about the caste system. So I only realized that they compared themselves seniors because you guys are so informed about the caste system. I don't know much about it. So when I was watching the film, it took me some time to understand it. So I think they could have a little bit more general information of what and why people were being misused, right? Mistreated, that's the word. But I think 7.4 is a fair score. I did enjoy the film. I didn't feel it was too long. I felt like it could have been shorter, but I didn't feel bored from it. You know, it wasn't something that I felt like, okay, this is tiring. It wasn't a tiring film. It was long, could have been shorter, but I don't feel it to be tiring. Anyways, that's my review, guys. A movie is good when you notice that I speak about it for 20 minutes at the review. So if a movie is not as detailed, then I wouldn't go 20 minutes talking about it. So I think this movie has a lot of layers. I think that if I was a little bit more educated in the caste system, if I was a little bit more educated in Indian history, in the farmers' problems, if I knew a little bit more about that, then I would appreciate this movie 100% more. So, so that's my review as a foreigner. Although I do understand a little bit of the things that were happening. I'll give you another example. When he was wrongly incriminated, they just dropped a lot of sandalwood, and other people would not understand why. I understood because of Pushpa, because I know that smuggling sandalwood is illegal in India. So I understood that, but other people would not understand that. You guys understood that because you're educated in that area. But if another foreigner watched that, they wouldn't know, like, they wouldn't understand that reference. So I think they could have kind of like drawn it a little bit more for us to understand. So that's why I'm not giving it more than 7.4. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'm so sorry for if you watched it with me live and there were some problems, some issues, but we made it through to the end. Technical issues always happen. But guys, thank you for watching. I will see you on the next video. I'll answer this in another video, because this is not like the time. I'll see you guys. Take care for now. Bye-bye. Now you can get full access to exclusive content, special reactions to shows, series, anime, full movies, and even request a video of your choice. Just become a YouTube member or join Buy Me a Coffee today. Find out more, the link is in the description.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game.